Day and launch UHC, and the story is covered extensively on pages 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation today. Let's take a look at other highlights on the front page of the Daily Nation. MPs move to sacked teachers rescue in row over transfers, and that story is on the back page. We'll be looking at it shortly. Elsewhere, vacate public land now, Wahome wants share certificate, not proof of ownership, says Lands Minister on page 8. And this is one of the biggest talking points, especially with the ongoing demolitions at that land in Mavoko, Athi River County, that is said to belong to the East Africa Portland Cement Company. Other highlights on the right-hand side of the front page of the Daily Nation this Friday, Mashujaa Day in politics. Raila succession talk as Nyanza MPs meeting resolves that it is premature for the coalition's leaders to engage in succession politics. That story is on page 4. The inside pullout of the Daily Nation today, The Voice, beyond the pitch case of 2022 FIFA World Cup. For lovers of sport, that's something to look forward to. And controversy, Chiloba throws in the towel amid Communications Authority probe. Communications Authority Director General Ezra Chiloba resigns in the face of 25 million shilling mortgage scandal. The story is on page 10. The other highlight on the front page of the Daily Nation today is why coast leaders are now forging a united front, and that's on page 5. Let's flip the paper and take a look at the back page. Interdicted teachers call for lawmakers' help in TSC row. Education Minister has told affected teachers to return to work as the region is now safe. Elsewhere, KEMSA in fight to regain lost favour. This is the other story given prominence on the back page of the Daily Nation, and a figure there of 17 billion shillings being the amount that is reported in an audit to have been lost in a COVID-19 procurement scandal at KEMSA through various forms of financial malpractice. That's the back page of the Daily Nation, and just a reminder, the top story on the Daily Nation today, what new health laws mean for you. We move on now to the Standard. And on the Standard this morning, inside Ruto Care Plan, an ambitious plan according to the Standard. Today, Kenya begins an arduous task to deliver access to essential quality health services for all, irrespective of their financial abilities. Similar undertakings have met mixed success globally, and the question on everyone's lips is, will the president succeed? And this being the main story, it is featured extensively on pages 2, 3, and 4 of the Standard today. So what is universal health care? UHC, a government's program that seeks to ensure that all people can benefit from quality health services where and when they need them without suffering financial hardship. Now, the 4 pillars of this is a human resource for health, integrated health information management system, healthcare financing, health products and technologies. And of the 4 pillars, KEMSA is strategically placed to tackle health products and technologies, and this is according to Dr. Andrew Mulwa, acting CEO KEMSA. The 3 bills that were signed by the president yesterday, as we look forward to implementing UHC, the Social Health Authority, which will replace NHIF, will have 3 funds, which are the Primary Healthcare Fund, the Social Health Insurance Fund, and the Emergency Chronic and Critical Illness Fund. So yes, we're moving from NHIF to the Social Health Authority, which will have 3 separate funds, hospitals to manage their own cash under Facility Improvement Fund, FIF Act. Away from matters healthcare and the Ruto Care Plan, the other highlights are on the top strip of the Standard this morning. In politics, warming up to Ruto, over 50 coast leaders chart new path. I beg your pardon, that story is on page 13 of the Standard. For their special coverage of Mashujaa Day on pages 6 and 7, Congo Karomba's King's Plea. And in the pullout today, the Pulse pullout inside the Standard, screen sirens, stunning women taking over TV space. Interesting read there. Mashujaa. Let's look at the back page of the Standard this morning. coverage of their coverage of sports. How have EPL teams really started? Manchester City remains the best team in the Premier League. The league resumes this weekend after an international break. With 8 games played, the Premier League table is finally beginning to take shape, but it doesn't tell the whole story about how teams have started. So for followers of the English Premier League, it's a good analysis of the EPL as it returns from that international break. Elsewhere in athletics, and this is still on the back page of the Standard, Kemboi Cherotich to defend Chemosusu Dam half marathon titles. And that race will be held on November 11th in Eldamaravine, Baringo County. And those are the top stories on the Standard this morning. Let's take a look at the other dailies today. And in matters business, we do have the Business Daily. On the Business Daily today, the big headline, 85% of Kenyan firms fail to pay corporate taxes. Only 129,300 out of 862,300 firms paid corporate tax. Low compliance signals sluggish sales and tax avoidance. That's a big story on the Business Daily today. The other highlights on the front page of the Business Daily, how the new NHIF laws will affect Kenyans, the new public healthcare plan, and it is a story that has featured on most front pages of the dailies this morning. The other highlights on the front page of the Business Daily, magistrate declines to quit Kimwarer Aror Dam's case. The other highlights on the ticker there, suspended CS Chiloba now throws in the towel, and elsewhere molasses prices up 10 times over illegal exports. Interesting headlines there on the front page of the Business Daily. Even as you can see, the red carpet being rolled out in preparations at the Kericho Green Stadium, the main venue of the Mashujaa Day celebrations today. Let's take a look at the other local daily that we have here, and that's the Star newspaper. And on the Star, Ruto health plan to ease cancer burden. That's a main story on the Star today. UHC Vision disease costs Kenyans about 10 billion shillings a year in medical tourism to India. An emergency fund will take pressure and load off hard up and poor patients and relatives. That story has been covered extensively on pages 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper today. And it just goes to show how much prominence this story is getting today. TSC faulted for penalizing tutors who refused to return to NEP. That's the other story on the front page of the Star. And man who butchered best friend over affair with wife escapes gallows. That story is on the Star, page 9. Very good and interesting read. And the image used on the front page of the Star this morning is of the president and the bills he has entered into law with regards to the new health plan. There, him displaying the same at State House, Nairobi, with other top government officials there. On the weekend pullout of the Star, that's the Siasa, the inside pages of the Star. It's on page 16. Kalonzo ages closer to Azimio ticket as Raila ages towards endorsement. An interesting discussion there that was triggered earlier in the week. With the dailies on Monday claiming that Raila had already endorsed Kalonzo, only for a day later the Azimio leadership to come out and say, no, it is too early for that to happen. We'll have to wait and see. And Bring a Friday, we do have the front page of the Nairobian, which retails at 80 shillings in Kenya and 2,400 shillings in Tanzania. Why fake preachers are getting jailed, that's a big story on the Nairobian today. Wolves in sheepskins, some religious leaders are turning to deadly beasts, devouring their congregants and stealing and defrauding others in the name of God. Men of cloth defile and rape minors, and women who expect their guidance on good morals. That's a top story on the Nairobian today, and that story has been extensively covered on pages 4 and 5 of that of the weekly Nairobian. Other stories on the front page of the Nairobian: mother charged for sending daughter's nudes on page 6. And Jaramogi's dream comes true as Oburu gets the sacrament on page 11. Buying land in major towns is sure way to grave. A follow-up of the demolitions in Mavoko. That's the other highlight on the front page of the Nairobian. And Pastor Ezekiel, 45,000 worshippers, Sadaka sustains his church business. And that's the front page of the Nairobian. Remember that we will be getting updates from our colleagues in Kericho who are covering the Mashujaa Day celebrations at the Kericho Green Stadium, where, as you can see, preparations are underway as they expect the dignitaries to start arriving anytime now. Entertainment already started, and the red carpet has already been rolled out for the President and Commander-in-Chief, who will lead the nation in the Mashujaa Day celebrations there. Remember, you can follow all this live right here on TV47 and on our social media pages on X, TV47 News, on Facebook, TV47 Kenya, and as well on our YouTube page and other online platforms. We continue looking at the dailies, and we now want to cross over to cross the border and see what's headlining in our neighboring countries. And we start off with Uganda. Remember, even as it is a holiday in Kenya, in Uganda and Tanzania, it is a normal Friday. So in Uganda, Kampala, the big headline: Uganda tightens security at border. Uganda has massed troops, intensified surveillance, and activated roadblocks in a multi-pronged response to the killings on Tuesday of foreign tourists and their Ugandan chauffeur inside Queen Elizabeth National Park by suspected allied democratic forces. That's a big story in Kampala, Uganda today. Queen Elizabeth safe, UWA assures public, UK to repatriate bodies of tourists. And that's a big headline on the front page of the Daily Monitor in Uganda today. The other big story there, and there's an image there of Vice President Jessica Alupo and as he greets Omusinga Charles Wesley Mumbere during the Rwenzuru Kingdom's 57th anniversary. It says, let's join hands in ADF fight, Museveni tells Mumbere. That's the front page of the Daily Monitor. Other quick highlights on that front page: Father Waigo, selfless priest impacting lives in West Nile. And the lizard there as officers sleep in Mama Ingla. Pole. Some of these stories can only be understood from the perspective of Ugandans. On the bottom strip, police unveil 77 billion shillings new headquarters plan. Okay, fine, it is Ugandan shillings, don't get scared. 77 billion shillings. And key Nagiri Nyamada suspects get life in jail on page 7. On the top strip of the Daily Monitor, Chemba, civil servant who exposed a means atrocity dies. And that is about it on the front page of the Daily Monitor, which retails at 2,000 Ugandan shillings and 1,600 Tanzanian and 950 Rwandese francs. But in Kenya, slightly above 100 bob. And you get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. Tuvuke boda twende Tanzania sasa. Tuangazie masuala kwenye jarida la Mwananchi. Kule Tanzania, maeneo ya Arusha, Dar es Salaam na Dodoma. Habari kuu kwenye gazeti la Mwananchi leo: malori 250 ya Tanzania yanaswa DRC. Ni yale yanayobeba shaba. Madereva wasaidizi wao wakwama kwa siku 44. Balozi Said Mshana aeleza linavyoshughulikiwa. Malori 250 ya Tanzania yanaswa kule DRC. Habari zingine kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Mwananchi: operesheni vimulimuli kwenye magari ya nukia. Kwingineko, tangazo la tsunami lilivyozua taharuki. Pale juu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Mwananchi: tiba ya methadone inavyowarudishia vijana matumaini. Tunaangazia jarida la Mwananchi kule Tanzania, na kidokezo cha mwisho hapa, fitina za kisiasa zinavyokwamisha maendeleo Bukoba. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa pili, masuala ya siasa kule Tanzania. Tusalie Tanzania and we take a look at the other daily there. I'm looking for the Citizen. And on the Citizen, the big headline, Zanzibar moves towards economic greatness. These are the top headlines in Tanzania today. Zanzibar moves towards economic greatness. Zanzibar, which has for many decades been renowned as a tourist paradise, is steadily transforming into an economic powerhouse. 9.4 trillion Tanzanian shillings in the 2 years to the end of August 2023, the Tanzanian Investment Promotion Authority, ZIPAD, registered projects worth nearly $3.73 billion. That's the equivalent of 9.4 trillion shillings. Mind-boggling figures if you think about it in the Kenyan sense. But these are Tanzanian shillings. Still on the front page of The Citizen. At the bottom strip, expectations high as cashew season opens. With the latest cashew nut trading season commencing today, farmers are banking their hopes on improved quality of their produce and favorable prices in the world market. The story is on page 2. The other highlight there, key focus areas in Tanzania, US joint efforts to improve trade. And on the top strip, Latra banks on tech to increase 2023-2024 revenue by 17%. And the final highlight, Tanzania finally admitted into UN tourism body. And that's the front page of The Citizen. In Tanzania, the big headline there, Zanzibar moving towards economic greatness. Allow me to sip some water here. Let's come back home and take a look at the cartoons in our main dailies. And the cartoon on the front page of, on page 16 of the Standard today talks about issues in Middle East, the war between Israel and Hamas, and how Biden is holding a megaphone, but this megaphone is attached to Netanyahu's mouth, meaning the US president is speaking through the Israeli ambassador in matters the war in the Middle East. That's a cartoon on the Standard today. On the Daily Nation, and I do apologize for the fact that we do not have these cartoons beamed on screen for you. And this one is interesting, and it's back home, and several people singing there, holding guitars and other musical instruments. And the music there is a cost of living. A song about the cost of living, and caricatures of people who look like the Kotu Secretary General, the Deputy President, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and the President. It's a Russia-Ukraine war, it's global fuel prices, it's the unstable dollar, and now it is Israel-Hamas conflict. And that's a song that our leaders are singing to us on this cost of living, blaming everyone else and not us. And that's a cartoon on the Standard today. And today we're privileged to have a hard copy of Taifa Leo. I'm sure they do have a cartoon as well, trying to trace it. It is a very light paper this Friday, probably because it is Mashujaa Day. Yes, the cartoon is on page 6. No vacancy, tazama hali ya Mashujaa. Yes, people looking for... Yes, we do have a hospital there with no doctor in sight, a graduate there with no vacancy, no employment for him, and the local Mwananchi being asked and being told, tazama hali ya Mashujaa. And those are the dailies this morning as we celebrate Mashujaa Day. And now I want to take you straight to Kericho County, where we The celebrations to mark this year's Mashujaa Day celebrations have begun in earnest at the Kericho Green Stadium. We do expect the President to lead the nation from that venue in celebrating the Mashujaa Day, in honouring our national heroes and also launching the UHC plan. We now want to link up with our reporter and anchor there, Linda Alela, for an update of what's happening there. A very good morning to you, Linda. Bring us up to speed with what's happening at the Kericho Green Stadium.
Thank you so much, Freddie Indimbi, back in studio. We're in Mashujaa and we celebrate you even as the country celebrates, those who fought for our independence and those ones actually who continue to put up this fight to make sure that the nation is better post-independence. That is basically the celebration and what is meant about this very important day. 60 days into such celebrations, the 20th of October celebrations in the country, but the 14th of the Mashujaa Day, upon that declaration that this officially moves from being Kenyatta Day to Mashujaa Day celebrations that was declared upon the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution. And since then, we have celebrated the 20th of October as the Mashujaa Day, a day that is graced with full of, optimism, as you can evidently see, as we are standing right here in Kericho Green Stadium, Kericho County. Remember also, it was declared that this is going to be done on rotational. The national celebrations should be done on rotational basis to different counties, just to appreciate also the other forms of government and the other 47 governments that we have in the nation. And therefore, this time around, the people of Kericho are privileged to host this great session. As you can evidently see, it's packed, all jammed up, about 10,000 capacity that is fully filled. And if you go outside, you realize that also we have very many people out there equally waiting to see whether they're going to get that blessing from the president to raise this event onto as well. Join in and witness this great celebration. The people of Kericho are extremely happy. They have benefited so much so because of having to host this great event, including, of course, we've seen uplift of infrastructure at this very stadium, the Kericho Green Stadium. So, Fred, we are expecting so much so, like you have rightfully said, we expect the president to be here any moment from now, and officially as declared, because of the aspect of the weather, they say it's important that we begin the celebrations as early as 9 a.m. so that we take it through. Remember, the president, alongside other dignitaries, diplomats, other officials of the government, and the chief guest, who is the Excellency President of Angola, João Lourenço, accompanied by his wife, was received yesterday by the Prime Cabinet Secretary, will also be gracing this event, even as they are waiting to have bilateral conversations alongside the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. So even as we are waiting to have the dignitaries get into the stadium, it is all entertainment, it is all jolly and celebrations right here. The people of Kericho as well getting to host one of their own and appreciating that the government has given them this honor to come and celebrate this great event. As I have said, this is the 60th of every October 20th celebration, but the 14th of this. And as they declared, I mean, it's all good in terms of security, in terms of electricity, in terms of making sure that all the amenities that are needed are here. Remember, Fred, that the theme of this celebration is on universal health coverage. And we've been here, pitching campus TV47 for the better part of the week. And when I say here, I mean Kericho County. Beginning Monday, we had this conversation about the universal health coverage, and there was that universal health coverage Mashujaa Day, or Mashujaa conference, that began on Monday and has culminated to this very important day, where the president will officially as well launch this aspect of universal health coverage. A model that we have put up, or perhaps a fight that we have put up, towards making sure that every other Kenyan then gets to enjoy the best of health. And when I say this, then you know very well that this could be the third attempt, beginning 2018, when the Jubilee government, that is President President Uhuru Kenyatta, managed to kick off this conversation on universal health coverage. You will remember very well that, of course, he was being deputized by the current president, that is Dr. William Samoei Ruto, who has seen it wise to continue with this. And what's the theme? is all about is ensuring that, well, universal health coverage at the level of the homes, at the level of mashinani, and so that they say that it's health or afya nyumbani. They were witnessed, the commissioning as well of the community health workers who are actually in here in large numbers. First of all, to appreciate that acknowledgement of the government, or by the government, of them, and the fact that they have officially been released to go out there and serve the people of Kenya at the community level. But of importance, we also understand that upon that conference, that Mashujaa, Universal Health Coverage Mashujaa conference, there has been a Kericho declaration that has been released out. Of course, this incorporated, contribution from different stakeholders within the health sector, just to ensure that, some of the key problems that we witness, or some of the key problems that we have witnessed since independence in relation to the question of health, then are addressed. Amongst all these things, is just making sure that the medics themselves are well taken care of. That is medics welfare, the question of human resource, the question of how we can get to digitize the health sectors, the question of how we get to finance this sector well, so that we can achieve the universal health coverage. So it's been a conversation that has been on. And speaking of the theme, you will remember that the president on December equally made that declaration that it would be important that some of this, or actually all these celebrations, should always be themed. The first one was on the question of ICT and just getting to understand how best as a country we can digitize all sectors, digitize all aspects, digitize all counties. And from that aspect of the ICT theme, that is when now we get to the second theme of encouraging the Kenyans to march into this conversation of attaining universal health coverage. So even as we celebrate this very moment, as we witness the people of Kericho equally join in the stadium to celebrate this moment, we can only wait to see that, we get to experience the facelift to the universal health coverage or in the health sector, and we also get to see what will be declared upon the signing of the very important bills on the question of health, amongst them, of course, the aspect of digitization bill. And so we look forward to see what then the president will be doing in terms of commissioning and launching this aspect officially. And so we are, yes, in the stadium, just being entertained, different faces and different entertainers on standby, equally to just join in this moment of celebration, also to entertain the dignitaries that we'll be expecting. And so we're looking forward, we're marching forward as a country, excited to see what this day will be about. And as I have said, lots of medics are being represented here just to also join in and support the theme of the day, that is as we get to also see some honors, or some heroes actually being honored on this very important day. Remember, the Mashujaa Day, like I have said, is about honoring the heroes who have supported the country since independence and who continue to support them at this very point. And so we'll also be seeing the president as well, giving them temporary accords just to appreciate their contribution. And we expect lots of numbers in terms of those that are going to be accorded this. And like I have said, any moment from now, we're going to witness the joining in of dignitaries from different quarters. Of course, we expect government officials to be here. We expect the president himself, accompanied by the chief guest, who is the president of the Republic of Angola, alongside his wife. And so it is basically what is playing out right now. There is really nothing much about, it's not about everything that I have said. It's about but as you can evidently see, everybody is well seated. I know it was a bit of a theater. Actually, yesterday evening we left this place quite late, and on the road we noticed there were very many people. The locals of Kericho County were trying to throng this direction from as early as around 9 p.m. just so they will also get a chance to get into the studio, into the stadium, and as well experience this great moment for the Kericho, for the people of Kericho County. Remember, they've been doing these preparations since mid this year, around August there. That is when it was declared by the PS for Interior, that is PS Omolo, who's equally the chair of the state's celebrations. And of course, he is the one who literally or officially confirmed that this is going to be the space that we're going to use for this year's celebrations. And at that very point, they began the process of facelift of this very stadium. And so beginning in August, it's been about working on this stadium, increasing the seating capacity. And like I have said, at this point, it has a seating capacity of 10,000. But from what I say, and from the numerous Kenyans that have come to witness this, it is likely that then they might actually get a chance to join in, and perhaps this then will be more than the 10,000 capacity that we expect. And as I have said, all we can only do at this very point is just wait and see what then the president has in store with for us. But of importance is on the question of access of universal health care as a country. And we are honored as a country to witness just how some of these matters are going to be addressed. And like I have said, there is the signing of the Kericho Declaration that is about the universal health coverage, that touches on the question of dashboard for health-related matters, touches on the framework of transfer for, medics in terms of making sure that, well, if they have that need to transfer from one county to the another, then they are accorded the chance to do so. Also, the question of interns, those who are medics and are interns within this very sector, they say that they should be given an opportunity to work around something or to work around a certain institution before then they are deployed officially and declared, to have been given this opportunity or to have been given this job as well. Comprehensive medical insurance, they have asked for that. That is for the medics. They have also asked for, pending promotions to be implemented, to engage Treasury to make sure that as medics then they do not get to witness these hiccups in terms of the payment of their salary, as well as there was that commitment by the unions to seize any form of, mass action until the very same have been, implemented based on the timelines that were given. And most of them actually have only timelines of about 12 months or so. So it will be interesting to watch and to witness what it is that we said. Freddie, like I have said, it is just about access to universal health coverage, which is the main theme this year in relation to the Mashujaa Day celebrations. And of course, we have seen the numerous pillars in this being addressed: the question of digitization, the question of human resource, the question of finance, as well as so much so that is crucial to us, making sure that we attain this. Also, as we appreciate the official launch or the commissioning of the universal or the home workers, that is those ones that will be serving the masses down at the level of mashinani. Contribution by the counties, contribution by different stakeholders to make sure that this is a success. So we'll be coming back to you. We have the team down on ground. We have Unsari, we have Sheila, we have the radio team as well, and so we'll as well be broadcasting this live on Radio 47, and you can be rest assured that there will be so much to report from this end. But for now, let's wait and see what to expect. I'm sure you also have a nice guest in the studio, and so we'll be looking forward to hear what they have to say, especially those ones that we appreciate as the Shujaas of this country. Once again, happy Mashujaa Day to you, Freddie, and to everybody else who is watching. Back to you in studio. My name is Linda Alela.
Yes, live pictures there from the Kericho Green Stadium, the venue of this year's Mashujaa Day celebrations, where we do expect in about an hour or so President William Ruto will be making his way there to lead the nation in honoring Kenya's heroes, as well as the main theme today being the launch of the Universal Health Coverage Plan. This follows yesterday's signing of 3 bills into law, which will see us transit from what we've known as the NHIF for so many years into the Social Healthcare Fund. Now, even as we continue witnessing what's happening in Kericho, here in studio, we are very privileged today as we mark Mashujaa Day to have a veteran theologian, a very well-known gentleman in Kenya's politics. And allow me to introduce Reverend Timothy Njoya.
Thank you, sir.
It's good to have you in studio with us.
Yes.
As we celebrate Mashujaa Day today, and even as Kenya looks forward to marking 60 years of independence.
Happy Mashujaa Day, please.
Happy Mashujaa Day to you too. Yes, and you are among the few Kenyans who've had the privilege to watch this country from inception, the struggles that were there even before that, through independence, through the struggles that followed, through the second liberation and your involvement there, to the promulgation of a new constitution and to where we are today. And probably the first question I should ask you, because today is Mashujaa Day, and the question has always been whether or not we've done justice to the Mashujaa who fought for independence. I'm saying this because in the last few months or so, we saw 2 senior people who fought with the Mau Mau pass on, and they were buried. A lot of promises are usually made during the ceremonies to send them off. But do you think we've done justice so far to those people who fought for the independence of this country?
We should also ask themselves, or ourselves, those who fought for independence, did they fight for themselves, or for their self-interest, or for the common good? That's the first question we should ask. Did they fight for power, or for the people of Kenya? So as to know, to establish the fought for independence. I would say Kenyatta fought for independence, so was Kimathi, so what was Mekatriri, Wamenza. So were others, like Arab Samuel, very long before what we call, in quote, independence. They fought for Kenya to retain a sovereignty, which was much better than they fought for to retain their God-given freedom. They were not fighting to be given that freedom by another human being, by the Queen Elizabeth or King George. So these people are the ones who really fought for real sovereignty, for which I fought for. We the people fought for our own sovereignty, not for the sovereignty of the government, which many people are fighting for, which means for power. So I would say that when we are celebrating independence, let's not really fight. Let's have a concept of whether independence means God-given or British-given. Okay. Or sovereignty is God-given itself. It is intrinsic in everybody born that God created us free in his own likeness, meaning sovereign like him. Okay. Now, let's go back to Kenya independence. Is it sovereign when it is given by someone else? When it's written in a letter.
We should have fought for it and grabbed it instead of waiting for it to be granted.
We should have won it in the battlefield, but we didn't.
Okay.
Okay. We were given by a man or a lady called Queen Elizabeth, and sent Duke of Edinburgh to bring it to Kenyatta in an envelope. I have it. I took it. Kenyatta didn't even open the envelope because he was in Lancaster. He knew what it was.
You say you took it?
Yeah. I went to Kenyatta's office to do research, and I took the copy, which he was given.
It's in your possession now.
Don't ask me, because Uhuru sent 5 people the other day to come and get some government documents from me. Or I allowed them to, the 5 people, director of Kenya's News Agency, Museum, and 5, allowed them to photocopy but not to carry.
So it's still within your possession?
No, don't ask me. I have, I have a lot of state documents, which were state that time.
Original documents?
Original documents.
Yes.
Even of Uhuru himself the day he was born.
Wow.
But I don't think he has it. I have all those pictures who are written at the back, Kenya News Agency, government property. When I went to do research in 1972 at Kenyatta, I found Kenyatta in the office, in his president's office. And he was very happy because he used to be a Presbyterian. Or Presbyterian. He died Presbyterian, believing he was Presbyterian. So I went, and he allowed me to have anything I want in those packages. And I took them. Then when I brought them, I was chased away by the people who guarded the office. They called those documents rubbish because they had no interest in records. They had interest in power.
Wow.
They had interest in protecting Kenyatta's power, not in protecting national. There was no, the National Archives at the Macmillan
library
and all those.
Yes.
Those were not yet well established in 1972. So the documents were where the officer in charge of that department were.
Don't you think
if it is about OAU, I got them. The documents were not, if the person who attended the OAU was Boya, okay? The first OAU meeting in Addis Ababa. He died, those documents in his office, they were not in the National Archives.
Don't you think that it would benefit Kenyans to experience or to get to interact with some of this documentation? That you say, because they were consequential. They were consequential. The general public, beyond the Reverend
Not
Joy.
mine, they're also Presbyterian because I got them in a Presbyterian offices. Okay, let me put it this way. When they wanted to have the document themselves, I returned the document purposely to Kenyatta, but I was chased away.
Yes. It was not your intention to keep them for yourself?
No. I did not want to steal them, but the officers at that time who were guarding Kenyatta's office and others didn't know the value of documents, they only knew the value of power. Because
something like, for example, that letter from the Queen granting Kenya independence.
Kenyatta never opened that envelope.
That is something that should be framed probably at a museum.
Ask you where it is, anyway. Don't ask me whether I have it or not. But I'm saying, what happened is that no document, I know, by 1972, even written government property or anything else, had a special place where to keep it. What you call the National Archives today.
Okay.
You get me?
Yes.
So, and even if there was there, Kenyatta, it was not in the psyche of the rulers of that time.
There was no need.
They were not literate.
Okay.
They were not literate.
Wow. Therefore, are you saying that there's some bit of history that we have lost, that probably that was documented evidence of our history that we have lost over years? Over the years. Yes.
Because the people who got those documents were not interested in the documents. They were interested in the land. For instance, in Lancaster, the Maasai 10 delegates led by Konshera and Oretepes and others walked out, stormed out when Kenyatta came to the land. There was the 1960 conference, 1962 conference, and the 1963 conference. Ogega Odegas refused to continue debating 1962 conference without Kenyatta. He said Kenyatta must be there. So he was released and he came to the Lancaster conference.
Okay.
All right. And he is the one who was now leading the Kenya delegate. But the Kanu delegate is not the Kadu and not the Maasai. Maasai did not have and not the Somali. You know, the Somalis stormed out and came and fought Shifta War. And the Maasai dropped out when stormed out of the Lancaster struggle for independence. Do you know why? When Kenyatta agreed and I think Oginga Odinga was KANU, and all they agreed to be given 62 million pounds to buy their own land from the white settlers. The white settlers had no legitimacy owning it, they had stolen it.
Now they're being given opportunity to sell it to Africans.
To sell it, and who are going to buy it? Africans, to whom it was stolen. The Maasai said that according to 19, so our land was stolen in 1904, and also 1910. And Lenana and Batiani were supposed treaties to forfeit Laikipia and other places. Were they, did not they know understand even how to read the document? They were just like Kenyatta was given a constitution and he didn't care about it.
He didn't have a chance to go through it.
To read it. The writings and all these documents, these were another culture.
We did not have a reading culture back then.
That's what I call them illiterate.
Yes.
By Western standards, illiterate.
Okay.
So now, Batian and who signed the treaty to forfeit their land and move south of the railway.
Okay.
The Maasai demanded that they want their land, part of independence is to return their land. Kenyatta himself had fought in 1929, went to Britain to returning land to the original owners. Now he said it's time to return the land to the original owners. Kenyatta and others feared because the original owners of much of Kenya Highlands were Maasai.
Okay.
The other tribes feared.
Even the present day Mount Kenya region?
Of course. Laikipia, all that was Maasai. They signed a treaty to move to the south of the railway.
Okay. Okay.
Internally displaced in Kajiado and Narok.
Okay. Let's hold it there and we'll come back to continue this conversation. But we need to pick an update from Kericho. My colleague, Dr. Fweneke, is on standby to give us an update. Then we'll come back and continue this issue of to see where we've come from and where we should be today, 60 years later, even as we celebrate Mashujaa Day. A very good morning to you, Dr. Fweneke. Bring us up to speed with what's happening there. I can see the stadium is getting fuller by the minute.
And of course, Fred in the Muli, thank you so much for right back in the studio. We are coming live from Kericho Green Stadium, of course, where we're celebrating the Mashujaa Day. And you can see guys have turned up in big numbers, thousands and thousands of Kenyans are here to celebrate together. And you can see how they're making us happy. Oh, yes, sir. And you can see how excited they are to just come together and celebrate history. The residents of Kericho guys are coming from Kisumu, from Kakamega, from Nakuru, from Nairobi, from different parts of Kenya, just to come and celebrate together the Mashujaa Day. So please, I just want to go around and talk to a few guys and get to know how do they feel about the Mashujaa Day today. Sasa, wata kwanza nianzie hapa. Mom, sasa. Sasa nataka kuniangusha. Wacha nikaribie. Umetoka kwa TV. Mwanzo leo mrudi kwa TV kwanza. Hebu kwanza wasalimia. So unafilaje je Mashujaa Day leo?
Nimefurahi sana, especially this is my first time coming live. Yeah.
Unaona kila kitu?
I'm so happy.
Ni nini una hope president ataongea kuhusu?
About health universal today.
Health, that's what you want.
Yes.
You're looking forward to it?
Yes, I'm looking forward.
Asante. Unaitwa?
Brenda Chepkoech.
Brenda Chepkoech. Unadu nini? What do you do for a living?
I'm just a business lady. Hustler. Yes.
Asante sana. Thank you so much. Wacha nisonge hapa nyuma. Wacha nipate zingine. Sinakuja. Wacha nikuje na hapa basi, wacha nikuje na hapa, si ndio? Nisianguke. Ndio hiyo basi. Haya. Kwa mbali. Kuja. Haya. Wewe unaitwa? Cynthia, unafanya nini? Wewe unafanya nini kazi yako?
Niko tu.
Wewe uko tu? Ile mara yako ya kwanza Mashujaa Day? Kabisa. Umeona president yote? Una president bwana face to face ama Ruto ndo atakuwa wa kwanza? Nishaimuona. Unataka president aongejea nini?
Kupunguza bei ya chakula bana.
Bei ya chakula? Wewe hujakula leo? Hujakula leo?
Njaa.
Unaishi njaa? Haujakula kabisa?
Sasa
Unapenda ni nini ni chakula gani unataka punguze bei?
kama unga.
Unga. Haya. So we're just going around basically Kenyans are telling us what they wish the president to talk about. Wanaenda hapo. Wacha kama microphone yangu itafika. Wacha nisonge na hapo. Wewe unaitwa nani?
Naitwa Asla, wengine wananifahamu kama Asla Boy.
Asla Boy. Wewe unatoka wapi?
Kipkelion West.
Kipkelion?
Yes.
Umekuja na basi au umetembea?
Nilikuja nifika hapa saa 8.
Saa 8? Uliacha bibi na nani?
Bibi niliacha nyumbani. Leo ilikuwa ni siku ya Mashujaa.
Leo siku ya Mashujaa. Shujaa wako ni nani?
Shujaa wangu ni MC wangu ambaye anaitwa Philly Bruno.
Philly Bruno. Ni nini amekufanyia kubwa sana?
Yeye ni majority leader wa Kericho County. Yeye anajua vizuri kushughulikia mambo ya maji.
Mambo ya maji. Na leo President Ruto akiingia, nini unataka ongelee kuhusu?
Mambo ya universal healthcare.
Mambo ya universal healthcare. Hiyo ndio shida kabisa. Asante sana. Haya. Uko mbali ndio tafika. Sasa ni balance langu kidogo. Atamula viatu. Kuja. Hebu tuone. Ona watu wame. Uliingia saa ngapi?
Saa 10.
Saa 10? Mguu ikikaa hivi. Ai. Wewe unaitwa wewe unasema Shujaa ni wewe?
Ni mimi.
Una watoto wangapi? Una watoto wangapi?
Niko na mtoto mmoja.
Mtoto mmoja? Na bibi wangapi?
Bibi moja.
Bibi mmoja? Ni nini unataka President Ruto ashukishe ama afix? Wewe akisimama pale aongee juu ya nini?
Ashukishe bei ya mafuta. Tunaumia.
Bei ya mafuta? Mafuta ya kupika ama mafuta ya gari?
Mafuta ya petroli.
Mafuta ya petroli. Wewe unafanya kazi gani?
Mimi ni mwalimu.
Mwalimu? Mwalimu wa subject gani?
Mimi nafunza geography.
Geography? Acha tusikie basi ya mambo, si ndio? Asante sana. Haya. It's interesting how we're basically getting Kenyans from different walks of life who are basically doing different types of works. All right. So that guy is a teacher. What is that? She's a business person, and of course we just want to know. Niele na huko. Acha niele hivi alafu nikuja. Wacha niende huko alafu nikuja, sawa? Wow, Kenyans are excited. Aya, wacha ni picha. Fred, this is really interesting for me. This is really fun for me because it's amazing how you just hear what Kenyans really want and what they're expecting from their president. So come on, follow me. Kuja. Usisukuma mama, pole, usisukuma mama. Hata hakuna kiatu. Unaitwa nani?
Naitwa Bernard Kibibet.
Kutoka wapi?
Kutoka upande wa Chebanga.
Chebanga?
Konoini.
Huko ni wapi kwa mimi sijaifika?
Bomet, upande wa Bomet.
Bomet? Wewe unafanya kazi gani?
Ni raia mwema.
Raia mwema?
Mkulima.
Mkulima? Ni nini unalima sasa hivi la kunanyesha?
Ninalima ya chai tu huko. Chai tu.
Na mambo ya chai imefikishia mambo ya bonus, vitu kama hizo.
Tulipata kidogo tu hivi.
Ulifanya nini na hiyo bonus?
Kusomesha tu watoto.
Ni nini leo ungetaka kusikia rais wetu mpendwa?
Sema mpaka nione kwa macho.
Kwa macho?
Sijawahi kuona. Mpaka viatu ilibaki huko.
Umeacha unaona unatembea na kiatu moja tu?
Ilibaki kwa mlango.
Kuona rais?
Kuona rais peke yake.
Ni nini ungetaka kuambia rais?
Ninaambia rais atushughulikie, atusaidie maneno ya chai iende juu kidogo hivi. Ipande juu kidogo.
Mkulima unataka uanze kupata bonus ya juu?
Ya juu kidogo. Najua saa hii tunapata shilingi 20.
Asante sana.
Karibu sana.
Nimeweka TV huko.
Umeweka TV? TV 47.
Mama, habari? Uko sawa? Unaitwa nani mama?
Naitwa Esther Gosipon.
Evelyn. Nasema unaitwa Evelyn?
Esther Gosipon.
Esther Gosipon. Unafanya kazi gani mama?
Mimi ni biashara.
Biashara gani? Mnauza mboga?
Mboga, mahindi, maharagwe.
Ni nini ungetaka kuambia rais? Ama ungetaka kusikia kutoka kwa rais?
Nataka kusikia kutoka kwa rais. Nataka kusikia kutoka kwa rais.
Una nini unataka akisema vizuri sana utafurahia? Ni nini akisema utafurahia?
Biashara ya kuuza mahindi, maharagwe.
Bei ishuke chini.
Na mboga.
Asante sana mami. Sawa. Ladies and gentlemen. Uko juu ni mbali bwana, ni mbali. Aya, teleze je basi nipi. Tena je nipite basi. Acha nipite mami. Mami. Acha nipite. Usisikume mami. Ngoja. Huyo ndo Mr. Right. Ngoja kwanza. Unaitwa nani?
Naitwa Josh Bor.
Josh?
Josh Bor.
Josh Bor.
Yes.
Unafanya kazi gani?
Mimi tu ni mkulima.
Mkulima? Unalima nini?
Mimi nalima mahindi na chai.
Mahindi na chai?
Ndio.
Kutoka wewe ni mkazi wa wapi?
Mimi ni mkazi wa Chepsil Kericho.
Chepsil Kericho?
Yes.
Leo mkuja kuona rais, umemuona siku nyingine?
Hapana.
Leo ni mara ya kwanza?
Leo ni mara ya kwanza.
Unasikia aje ukiwa hapa?
Nasikia nimepupujikwa na raha.
Baka amesema amepupujikwa. Ni mara ngapi? Hii ni mara ya kwanza wewe kuingia Mashujaa Day?
Mara ya kwanza.
Leo kuna chochote unatarajia ama uko sawa?
Niko sawa kabisa.
Uko sawa kabisa? Asante sana. Haya. Wacha nimalize. Ladies and gentlemen, Freddie Numuli back to the studio. Thank you so much. We are coming live from Kericho Green Stadium. Of course, we are celebrating Mashujaa Day. Of course, you can see many Kenyans, a lot of Kenyans are really excited to be here. But of course, excited, of course, not only forgetting that they're coming, of course, with expectant hearts for what the president is going to say, what the leader is going to say. Let's look forward. We are hoping and praying that the president is going to have a speech that is, of course, very, very encouraging and hopeful to the beautiful Kenyans. Back to you, Freddie Numuli. Asanteni sana.
Thank you so much, our very own Dr. Fweneke there. And the excitement is culpable at the Kericho Green Stadium, the venue of this year's Mashujaa Day celebrations, as the people of Kericho await for the arrival of the President and Commander-in-Chief, William Ruto, to lead the nation in celebrating Mashujaa Day. Thank you so much, Dr. Fweneke, for that update. We'll be going back to Kericho in a short while for more updates. But for now, I want us to continue this conversation with Reverend Timothy Njoya, a veteran theologian. And you were just explaining to me, because we were talking about who the Mashujaa, in as far as independence is concerned. But you are raising questions about the whole concept of independence and who exactly should be the Mashujaa. Kindly proceed.
No, I started by saying the Mashujaa are not necessarily, if I say to be hero, to be courageous, to be bold for a cause, but that cause must be selfless. Mm-hmm. It must be for the common good. For the good of all people.
Are you saying that some of these freedom fighters should not therefore come back to us and tell us that they deserve any kind of special?
That is not Mashujaa.
Okay.
That is self-interest.
Okay.
They wanted us to pay them. Then we should not call them Mashujaa. The moment you want to get monetary value for your life, you give your life like a money. Mm-hmm. What monetary value would he gain? Mm-hmm. Or those people who died fighting, like Mufudi Mansai, he did not die, but she left forest after independence, thinking now she's going to benefit. Okay, but what value would she gain if she were given land, or would get? Or whatever, or a job.
Okay.
That is not Mashujaa.
And
that is earning, that is Edokomo, that is job. They were doing their own job,
Hoping to get recognition.
Yeah.
And I've seen a photo of you, an interesting photo online, I think on your Twitter page. You took this photo with the Field Marshal Modoni, who died recently, and that it was a very well publicized, much publicized funeral, and even the burial ceremony, which was attended by the Deputy President and even Raila Odinga. These are some of the people we are talking about that probably should be celebrated as freedom fighters for independence.
Yes, my wife and I went to visit Field Marshal Modoni at Nyeri, where she was staying, and then she paid our visit by coming to visit us with her, who was her bodyguard after she left the forest. The man whom I love very much, she became a Presbyterian elder. She herself joined the IPCA, United the Presbyterian Church. So I'm saying, we went to visit her, and she was very happy to define for me what is Mashujaa. She told me Mashujaa is not the people who fought for gain, for power, for that, but people who are selfless, who gave their lives, whether they died or whether they survived. Those are the heroes. Those are the saints. In the Bible, in the book, in Christianity, we call people who fight for justice, for freedom, who stand for their faith. We call them saints. In fact, part of the Apostles' Creed, and I believe in the communion of the saints, people who are willing to give their lives.
The ultimate sacrifice.
Ultimate sacrifice for others, like Jesus did. So Jesus is our Shujaa.
Kimathi did.
Kimathi is our Shujaa. They all give their lives for our benefit, not for their own.
Okay.
They didn't benefit. If you want, today materialism has made us want to pay them, to pay their families, to remember them, to recognize them. Then Jesus said, if you have your recognition in this world, you have other reward. You don't need reward in heaven. Okay. So when I'm about it, I've been killed 3 times.
What do you mean you've been killed 3 times?
Can you see my hand? On Labor Day, 1977, I preached that Harambee is the ideology of the Kikuyu middle class because they were selling us our independence to us. They were doing, we pay taxes and they want us to pay goods and other things for Harambee to be built at school. And we have paid the taxes already. Instead of universalizing education, instead of making hospitals universal, they want us to do Harambee to build hospitals. Where I would rather they increase taxes to build hospitals for everyone than build hospitals for only those who can afford to contribute, and yet they used also to squander that money. So I said the Harambee is the ideology of the Kikuyu middle class because they are the one who could even sometimes offer in a Harambee hundreds of thousands or millions. There are many tribes they couldn't offer. And even if they offered goods or cattle, who was going to buy them with that money? They also in Wajir. So when I said that, I said, when Jesus freed people, for instance, he healed a woman who had 12 years of blood. I said, she came to thank him. She said, no, your faith has healed you. He affirmed her dignity, her sovereignty, her identity to determine her future. Even a person who was brought with a parrot, carried by a mat, and they broke the roof to bring him to Jesus. Did he heal him? No, he told how democracy and healing is participatory, is democratic. Take up your mat and walk.
Yes.
You have heard of that story?
Yes, I have.
It's for us. Even when a person who was born bride came for Jesus to be healed, he put mud for him in the eyes and told him, go and wash. And when people came to thank him, no, Jesus never liked sycophancy.
And when you preached like this in 1977, what happened?
I said Jesus hates sycophancy because indebtedness is the worst form of sin and slavery.
What happened to you once you said that?
In the evening, 9 policemen from Kikuyu police station, and I knew them, came to my house, said that, why did you put your eye in the finger of the president? They cut this finger off. Do you know it fell? Can you see this one? It's completely off. They were sewn by Dr. Michael Wood. And all these tendons are grafted. They cut this off and then this bone off. Then there's here, my tummy. Then I decided I'm not going to die studying. I put my shoes, I had shoes in the evening at about 7. I jumped, lifted the policeman through his belt with my tips of the shoes, put him on top of me. That's not Mashujaa. It is faith.
And reflex.
It is faith. He looked at me and put his sword on my neck and told me, and also I'm already full of buttons on my head and everywhere. And he put the panga, the simi, on my head, my neck, and told me, talk and you are dead. I said, yes, I have forgiven you and God has forgiven you.
Yes.
That's what I told him. He said, but those who told us that you are bad, you are not a bad man. Then he let me go, and he defended me from the rest. Okay, what I'm trying to say that I went to hospital, 3 days, Nairobi hospital. My fingers were sewn the way they were. They were repaired. I needed 6 surgeries to return the fingers to face forward. Can you see? Even this does not forward. That was the first time I was killed by the state for preaching. Then the second day I repeated the same sermon and I was done. PCA sacked me not to come back to the church for 9 months. After hospital.
The PCA sacked you?
Yes, 9 months. Because I'm fighting the Kenyatta. You know, the Presbyterianism and the government were identical. Because they were mainly Kikuyu. And I'm attacking the Kikuyu. Even when I left the hospital, a former auditor told me, you are being killed because you did exactly like J.M. Kariuki. You are attacking your own government. You know, that kind of ideology. So because I said the ideology of the Kikuyu middle class, every Kikuyu was up in nerves, including my own churchmen. Now, that ended. But then Moi followed up. You know, at Sabasaba.
Yes.
In all things, I was dead. I was killed again.
When you received that?
When I went there, I climbed on the pulpit to proclaim that we want Kenya is a multi-party. It is we want a new constitution. We want people are sovereign, not the state. In fact, I was following up my sermon of 1986 October. Again, I was sacked for 2 years.
By the same church? By
the same church for proclaiming that people must claim their sovereignty from the state, from the one-party state. They claim their humanity, their dignity. God-given. It's God-given. When God created them, let me put these papers down. When God created Adam and Eve, male and female, he created them in his own likeness, in his own image. And he gave them sovereignty to govern the earth, to govern the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, everything. This sovereignty belongs to them, not to the state. The state is their creature. You cannot surrender your sovereignty as a human being to a creation, your own creation. So I said people must reclaim their sovereignty from the state, from the one-party state. They must dismantle the one-party state and write their own constitution, because in the Lancaster constitution, they did not even do a referendum to make it their own.
It was a document.
It was written by Mackenzie of Manchester University. I know the man who wrote it from Manchester for the Queen. To put it, and MacLeod, not MacLeod, yes, he tabled it. For the Kenyans to come and read. Did they understand?
They just ratified it and said fine.
And then Kenyatta was told, we'll give you independence on 12th December. And he agreed. Did he understand? Had they read the whole document? No. For me, I had read the whole document.
Yes.
So I saw that the sovereignty was given to the state, not to the people. That's why when I preached my sermon, I said people reclaim their sovereignty from one party state and they return. Moi summoned Cardinal Tunga, Manasseh Kuria, Cardinal Tunga Catholic, Manasseh Kuria, Murwa, Anglican is nurses.
Yes.
Murwa is AIC.
Yes.
Matthew Rao is Methodist. The chief candidate that time. He signed it, and the following day, it was in the headline. He called them to the State House and asked them, what are you going to do about that one man? What action are you taking? All of them were appointed. They were so almost to urinate on themselves.
It was that bad.
It was that bad. They were shaken. They have never seen a man so angry as Moi, saying we disband one-party state, and he is the head, and he has sworn to defend it. And the Constitution and the Section 3 said Kenya is a one-party state, and he has sworn to defend that. So, and I had preached against all that rubbish. Rubbish, I called it, I rubbished it. I rubbished the Lancaster Constitution because it took sovereignty from the God-given people, which was given to Adam and Eve, and gave it to a creation of the British, to a creature. Kenya government was created by Britain, not us. We should have been allowed to create our government. Mama should have won battle in a battlefield.
So in your own assessment, we did not fight enough to the end to
fight.
Be able,
we fought
to be
enough,
able to
but
win.
We fought enough, but we compromised.
Okay.
At Lancaster, compromised.
And now that you mentioned the Constitution, the Lancaster Constitution, and your own agitation for a review of the Constitution, which eventually led to the promulgation of a Constitution in 2010. Probably by then your involvement was not as much by 2010, but in the initial stages, even for the repealing of Section 2A for the multi-party democracy, you're very much involved.
That is why I praise Moi for repealing 2A after being already killed because of that very 2A.
Yes.
And after being defrocked, for 2 years, I lost my job as a minister again.
Wow. Do you now consider yourself a Shujaa? Because what you fought for eventually came to pass.
I don't consider myself a Shujaa because that's the honor, the recognition we give people. I can't recognize myself. So now...
But if we were to recognize you as a Shujaa,
I won't.
Why would you say no to a recognition?
I wouldn't, because I was giving my life for the people.
Okay.
Now, what I'm talking about is that, so my church sacked me for 2 years. But when Moi agreed with the new constitution, I was reinstated, to revoke and everything, I was reinstated. It's Moi, first of all, who was saving me, who was also beating me.
The irony of Moi saving you.
By agreeing with what he had refused. Moi saving me. That's what me, people hate him, but for me, I owe nobody anything but love. I owe Moi only love. Now, now what happens? On Sabasaba, we went to All Saints Cathedral with Mutunga, Kamau Kuria, Kibozu Kabwana, Orengo, many other people. We went there to bring in a new constitution. Moi has already agreed with a multi-party pluralism within a framework of the state being the one which is sovereign, not the people. So when we went there, I was attacked. 20 people were killed that day. When they called Madamano, I was again beaten and left dead.
Okay.
That's the second time I was killed.
Okay, and I'm just informed, yes, the Chief Justice Martha Koome has arrived at the Kericho Green Stadium for the celebrations, for Mashujaa Day celebrations. Even as we await for other guests to continue trooping in, ahead of the celebrations, and we continue with this conversation here with Timothy Njoya. So that was the third day.
That was the second day.
That was the second time.
I was already defrocked 3 times by church, but I was already killed by state twice. Kenyatta once, Labor Day 1977, Moi once at All Saints. Then they went to, he agreed. Again, Moi saved me. Even though God saved me. I said Moi took a hand after the Madamano, after the All Saints Cathedral, calling for a new constitution himself. Because all we did was he saved Kenya from a civil war. Because that time I was also ready for civil war, not for me to fight, but to drive Kenyans to fight for their rights. Now, to reclaim their sovereignty, God-given from the one given by the Britain to Kenyans, so which you call independence, which
is the one we are celebrating this year.
Okay, Kaudiga said we are not yet Uhuru.
Yeah.
But I say I don't want to go up to be absolute that there was no independence, because by euphoria it was independence, not by fact. Now, after that Moi agreed to have a new constitution. He did not surrender sovereignty. So I went to court. We went to court. NCC went to court to have people have a referendum to reclaim their sovereignty. Do you remember the Joya case? It was quoted in the High Court the other day when Uhuru and Raila was told that they cannot
with the BBI, they cannot
arrogate themselves the authority to stand for the people.
Okay.
People must always reclaim, exercise their own God-given sovereignty, inherent in being human, intrinsic in you as a human being. Everybody is sovereign. That's why we cast a vote to exercise our sovereignty.
Okay.
And give the delegate to the state only 5 years of mandate to share our sovereignty, not to own it. It still belongs to us.
Yes.
We never surrender our sovereignty. Because even when God made Adam and Eve sovereign, he did not surrender his sovereignty as God. We are the creators of the state. Can we surrender our sovereignty to a creature?
Okay.
The state is a creature.
True.
You cannot surrender, create something, and then surrender your sovereignty to it, or your property, and surrender sovereignty to your property like some people do. But anyway, we went to court. But we won. But again, we went to demonstrate at Parliament, not to enact the bombers document. You remember? It should not. Kinayashi Guy and others should not enact, because they are appointed by the state, not by the people.
Yes.
The state is refusing to surrender our sovereignty back to owners, to God, to those God gave sovereignty in the beginning, in the creation.
Okay.
Then what happened? We went to demonstrate. Again, I was met on the way to Parliament. You remember?
Is that the famous photo that we have where you are on the ground?
Yeah, okay, that's the third time I was killed.
Several policemen are very busy.
That was the time I was in Nairobi hospital for 3 days.
Wow.
I was killed for 3 days. But I rose again to continue with but to continue.
And you say you're no hero in Kenya's journey for even constitutional.
I am a saint.
Journey. Oh, you are a saint.
Heroism, saint means people who give their lives selflessly for the good of others.
So you prefer the saint to the hero? I
would prefer being a servant. I would prefer at all people who went for demonstration, we are at all saints, even those who died, we are all, if it's heroism, meaning bravery, and courageous. But mine, I would find we are all heroes. But the thing is this: even though we are all heroes, we are not fighting for power or anything but for our own being, for being sovereign. While I would prefer that, I would rather that we celebrate Mashujaa Day for all people who died for their faith. Faith in themselves and in everyone else.
Okay.
And rather than people who died to gain power.
There's something you mentioned earlier.
Or to gain property.
And there's something you mentioned earlier, the difference between those who fought for independence with the Mau Mau and those who gained recognition simply because they were arrested by the colonial government and they suffered under the colonial government. And your assessment is that those should not be the Mashujaa.
The real Mashujaa would be people like Kenyatta, Mandege Muthoni, Field Marshal Muthoni, Mekatiriri, who is this Nandi man? Samuel. Those are the real heroes because they were not fighting and they died or did not die for the good of others.
Okay.
for the common good. Not for those who, like when today you have people going, you cannot call anybody who goes for Mandamano today or anything a hero because they are fighting for power. That's not selflessness. Anyone who's fighting to gain or for access to the state house, already he wants to the state. Sovereignty is not about the state. Sovereignty is about the people.
Okay.
That's why I have written a book called We
The People.
We the People. You know the book?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. I've written the book We the People, meaning that all emphasis throughout history in Kenya showed that even though people may not be analytical like I am to say that those people went to Lancaster, and I should have finished very good, cannot say we the people because they came and accepted independence from someone else.
Okay.
Did not bring the document to people to vote for it.
They were given.
To vote, to do a referendum, to accept to be to the terms and conditions of that independence.
Okay.
One of the conditions meaning they are given loan to buy land from the thieves.
I get the irony there.
You get the irony. And they agree. Who bought the land? Themselves. You know that the people went to Lancaster, came and bought, were given money to come and buy land from there. They did not buy it for the land race. That's why Oginga and Kagia departed from them.
Okay.
So I can call Kagia and Oginga Odinga heroes that time.
Those are heroes as well.
Because they stood for the principle of sovereignty. Oginga said that not yet free. As long as we are buying, we who went to Lancaster are the one who came and got money to go and buy land for ourselves. Yes. And some are buying like a whole county. I don't want to mention their name because...
For one person.
Yeah, one person.
Let me take you back to something else that you've mentioned. And you said that this time, and it was a very troublesome, very troubled time for you because even the church, you were sent away from the church more than once.
3 times.
3 times by the Presbyterian Church. You also mentioned that you were ready for civil war.
Of course.
As a church leader back then, as a reverend back then, how do you marry the two?
That even that I was not ready because I wanted it to come or anything, but because people had reached a point where they couldn't surrender their sovereignty to the state anymore. They were fed up to the neck. It is not me who had brought it. It's the state who was fighting it.
Yes.
Did I hate Moi with a crab? Did I hate Kenyatta with a panga?
No.
Who was fighting? Supposing I decided to resist. What is that? Called a civil war. Supposing the people who died on the Samba and other days on the streets who decided to resist. What is that?
Okay.
Who is the attacker? Who is the offender? The state itself was the one to initiate there. We were ready to resist.
Okay.
By that, if we were stubborn enough to march, despite the police denying us the license to exercise our sovereignty. You see, so I'm saying that don't mistaken me that I wanted to fight physically. Even Jesus Christ was not ready for civil war or anything, but he was attacked, wasn't he? Yeah? How much was I faithful to that he was crucified? I would have not liked civil war to happen. That's why I'm saying I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm very happy it never happened.
Yes.
But those where there was stupid president, not intelligent like Moi. I call him intelligent one. Why is that name? Where there was stupid president when people went for civil war.
Yes.
Somewhere civil wars have not ended.
They still
like
continue
in Congo.
parts of Africa, yes.
Yeah.
So let me also now draw parallels with what is happening today, because back then, especially for the agitation for multi-party democracy, the church was really involved. Church leaders were at the forefront of some of this agitation. We are at a time when we see that despite what the general public is going through, the church has been accused of remaining silent. the civil society too, which was very active back then,
Is there any civil society today?
has gone silent.
Is there any civil society today?
Even the trade unions, the workers' unions.
Is there any church today?
And that's what I was.
You should tell me whether there is
Yes.
a church or whether there is a civil society today.
Okay.
Or whether there are institutions.
The church, the civil society,
We
and
have
the
the
trade unions.
institutions called church.
Uh-huh.
But I'm talking by definition, church means people's assembly, ecclesia, gathered together, people gathered together. That church, is it alive? Are the people alive? Are they now the one worshiping and praising God? Or are we only looking at the institutions? For me, I was not, had I been acting as a church, when I was beaten by the church, I would not have gone back to it.
Yes.
Had I not been acting as a church? Had I been working as the Presbyterian institutions, would I have gone back to the church? The same church. I appealed to the High Court, what you call the General Assembly, to be reinstated. Had I identified with the PCA institutions and hierarchies and establishments, would I be a Presbyterian today? No way.
Okay.
The only reason I am still Presbyterian because I was a church. I was the embodiment of the word church. It doesn't matter whether you call it Catholic, Anglican, Methodist, I was the embodiment. Only that my platform was the PCA.
Yes.
So I'm talking to say that when you're talking about the church, you must define what I mean we the people. The church is we
the people.
We the people, we believers. The church, I believe in the Holy Catholic Church, the communion of saints, not the institutions.
Okay.
And I'm saying, saints are the ones we are calling heroes today.
Okay.
The people who are selfless, the people who give their lives for the good of others, the people who care, the people who prefer, I would rather he has than I have. I would rather she have than I have. I would rather you eat and I don't eat because I was working and cooking for you.
Wow.
And I'm saying that when you have selfishness, self-centeredness, when you start being a thief or corrupt in the government, and you call that, you say Kenya is 85% Christianity, you are lying. Because the Christianity we're talking about some thieves.
It is not real Christianity.
It's not real Christianity.
Okay.
You are talking about people who adhere to institutions, establishments, but I'm talking the people who are faithful to God.
Okay.
The people who are faithful servants of the servant.
Okay.
Who are not there to be served, but to
serve.
To serve.
Hold that thought there. We get another update from Kericho. My colleague William Moige is on standby. William, a very good morning. I can see quite some excitement and a number of cabinet secretaries have already arrived. The CJ is there. How is the situation right now at the Kericho Green Stadium, even as we wait for the Commander-in-Chief to make his way there?
All right, just as you have stated, Fred, back in studio, quite an ecstatic mood here. People are excited. By the way, Kericho Green Stadium is already full to its brim. But most importantly, even as we celebrate and mark this particular day, Mashujaa Day, among the crowd, among the thousands of people who have thronged into this stadium, among them and people who are being celebrated today are the CHV's community health volunteers, who earlier on, you remember on the 25th of August, President William Ruto distributed over 100,000 kits to go to these people ahead of this particular day, even as we commemorate the universal health coverage. But Indemuli, I'm not alone. I'm joined by some of the CHVs, as you can see behind me. They are in their hundreds from all the 47 counties. And I will engage one of them just to get a feel. How is it today, even as we celebrate them? What is their feeling? Good morning. This is TV 47. And today, being a Mashujaa Day, the country led by the president, we are celebrating the community health volunteers. Yes. Starting off with your name, how does it feel to be celebrated by the whole country today?
Yes, kwa majina ninaitwa Samuel Tuwei toka hapa hii kaunti ya Kericho, na tumefurahia kabisa hii sherehe ya leo hii kwa sababu hii ndio sherehe ambayo tumengojea muda mrefu, na hata imepatia Kericho imepanda juu hata kwa ngazi. Sasa kuongea mambo ya CHPs, tunashukuru sana rais wetu William Ruto kwa sababu ya ile ametushikilia. Sasa hii ndio tunaona kabisa, hii ndio bottom up, kwa sababu hii ndio mashinani. Hii imesaidia watu wetu, hata vile tumeingia ndani, tumewasaidia hata watu kujua ile shida ambayo mara nyingi magonjwa ile inasumbua raia kama malaria, kama haya blood pressure, mambo ya sukari. Hii mambo yote tumekuwa trained ili tupate kusaidia hawa wananchi wetu kule mashinani. Na hivyo vile tumeendelea kwa hii mwezi moja hii saa hivi vile imekuwa imeanza, tumepewa hiyo kits, tumeendelea vizuri na hata tumeshukuru kabisa kwa sababu ya ile empowerment ambayo tumepewa. Sasa hata saa hii tumeweza kuwaelimisha mambo ya delivery nyumbani. Hiyo sasa hakuna mambo mingi, hata hii magonjwa ambayo saa zingine mtu anaweza kuonjeka kule nyumbani pasipo kujua, tumeweza kuwaelimisha. Ngao tunakuwa na challenges kidogo, wengine wanauliza wajawahi sikia hii maneno, lakini tukuwaelezea vizuri wanashika line. Na hivyo tunaendelea vizuri, tumefurahi.
Okay. Napata kwamba mmefurahi.
Yes.
Lakini mashujaa ya hii mwaka, yes, tunawasherehekea nyinyi wahudumu wa afya wa kujitolea. Yes. Bwana Tuwei, wewe mwenyewe unajihisi vipi siku ya leo?
Mimi nafurahi kabisa kwa sababu hii kazi tumefanya on voluntary basis for a very long time. Lakini sasa kwa sababu tumetambuliwa hivi, tumefurahi kabisa na tunashukuru kwa ile kutambulika hata na serikali yetu ya Kenya. Sasa vile tumesaidiwa namna hii, najua hii kazi itaendelea vizuri. Asante sana.
All right, Fred, that is just among the hundreds of community health volunteers who have made their way here at the Kericho Green Stadium. Sights and sounds are some of the things that I can see already. The parade is the military parade is getting into the center of the ground. That means any moment from now we're expecting the Commander-in-Chief, that is President William Ruto, to make his way here at the Kericho Stadium and officially the celebrations to kick off. We are having a parade being mounted by all the cadres of the military, including the Kenya Army, Kenya Navy, and also the Kenya Air Force, making their way to the center of the ground just to participate in today's military parade, whereby the Commander-in-Chief will do the official inspection and also the official parade before the start of this particular Mashujaa Day. But for now, we cross over to you, Fred, but more sights and sounds will be giving you those details as it unravels here at Kericho Stadium. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you so much, William Moige, coming to us live from the Kericho Green Stadium, the venue for the main celebrations, Mashujaa Day celebrations today. I'm still in studio with the Reverend Timothy Njoya, even as we come close to the end of our conversation. And we're still talking about Mashujaa Day. And you were trying to explain to me even the origin of where this word Mashujaa, or heroism, even the concept of heroism, where it
yes. Mashujaa in Arabic means mutetezi, musaredo, a person who gives his life, his time, his resources for the good of the ummah, the ummah, the community, yes, the public. That's why in Tanzania they call it ummah, something public. Now, and in Christianity it means a witness. One who does not go to talk about himself or anything, but witnesses for the death and the resurrection of Jesus, a person who is martyr. Okay. As somebody who gives his life for the good of others to communicate what is good for them. Now I'm saying in Kenya, we have the word, we have lost the concept of musaredo, or the mutetezi. We have the concept of people. We say, sarikali tusaidie. or that we are there not to do anything we do for the good of others. Okay. And I was talking about our independence because there's one we are calling Mashujaa. I was called to be called Mashujaa. Okay. And I went before at Uhuru in our stadium. Yes. No, is it the one at Uhuru, at the Uhuru Highway?
Uhuru Park.
Uhuru, is it?
Nyayo Stadium.
Yeah. So we were given each a flag to march before Kibaki, President Kibaki. And I was given this small flag to march. Can you imagine me marching before Kibaki?
Did you do it?
I would have died that evening. So now, but there were other people who were fighting me, and when I was killed, there were witnesses. Yes. They had not repented, but I had forgiven them, and I have forgotten about it. Now I saw the people on the Jukwa, the MP, the cabinet minister, and others, foreign dignitaries, some imperialists. And I was supposed to march before these people to pay homage to them, not to the people. Oh. You get me? Yes. So I decided, my wife and my children called me by cell phone, told me, because they were seeing me walking, because it was televised like now. They told me, dear, come back. You cannot march before those people.
Interesting. So Reverend, because I'm told
those were not martyrs.
Yes, we need to cross over to Kericho. So probably as you continue with that, give us a final.
I will give you a final.
Yes.
What is a Mashujaa?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. What is a Mashujaa?
Yes, I'm saying that a Mashujaa is the one who gives his life, a person who is selfless for the good of others, like Kimathi, like Mekatriri, like Samuel, and those who are the real Mashujaa in Kenya. Okay. The others we call Mashujaa today reached a place where they stood to gain. And we know how much land they own. We know how rich they are. And we call them Mashujaa because of euphoria, not because of what their selflessness. So I say that today we are celebrating independence. I don't mind, but independence that as a process which we achieved in 2010 by achieving a new constitution in which people exerted their sovereignty, took away their sovereignty from the state.
So you believe our independence came in 2010?
It was when ultimately it came to us in 2010. And it was better because already foreigners had surrendered, having to fight to colonize, to enslave us. Now it was local enslavement, and it was local colonization, and we ended it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Reverend Timothy Njoya, for helping us understand the history and this concept of independence and Mashujaa that we are celebrating today. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank Reverend Timothy Njoya, our guest this morning on Mashujaa Day. Our special coverage of these celebrations continues, and we now want to take you over to the Kericho Green Stadium, where the focal point of the day's celebrations. I can see the events there, the military already carrying out its drills in expectation of the arrival of the President and Commander-in-Chief William Ruto to preside over this event and lead the nation in celebrating Mashujaa Day. Over now to Kericho.
Basi kwa ishara ya ngoma ndogo hiyo, mkuu wa divisheni ya kwanza, divisheni ya pili, ya tatu, ya nne pamoja na parade adjutant wanaingia ndani ya gwaride tayari kusimama mbele ya vikundi vyao. Nao pia sharti kuweza kuwekwa sawa. Jaji mkuu na rais wa mahakama ya upeo nchini, waheshimiwa mawaziri, gavana wa jimbo la Kericho, wageni waalikwa, mabibi na mabwana. Karibuni leo tarehe 20 Oktoba mwaka huu 2023 kwa sherehe za Mashujaa katika uwanja wa Green Stadium hapa Kericho, gatuzi nambari 35. Wima uwanjani ni gwaride la heshima lililoandaliwa na majeshi ya ulinzi ya Kenya, mavazi mekundu jeshi letu la nchi kavu, mavazi ya samawati jeshi letu la wanaanga na mavazi meupe jeshi la wanamaji. Naibu wake ni Meja Hilary Kiprotich Piaban. Divisheni ya kwanza ya jeshi letu la nchi kavu, kikosi cha kwanza Green Fire, chini yake Meja Andrew Simiu Wamocha. Divisheni ya pili kiongozwa naye Captain Bonventure Ochieng. Divisheni ya tatu ya jeshi letu la wanaanga iko chini yake Meja Douglas Wanjohi Mwangi. Divisheni ya 4 ya jeshi la wanamaji iko chini yake Meja Mohamed Said. Parade Adjutant Captain Rashid Suleiman Juma. Afisa aliyetwikwa jukumu la kubeba bendera iliyofahari ya kikosi cha kwanza Luteni Titus Toroitich akishirikiana naye Luteni James Mwangi. Parade RSM Warrant Officer 1 Agostino Eric Ekal. Wanaosindikiza bendera hii ni Sergeant Abraham Kandie, Sergeant Thomas Mayo. Kuondoa jukwaa la rais liko chini yake Sergeant Philip Mashulu. Mziki unazidi kupromoshwa na bendi za majeshi ya ulinzi, chini yake mkurugenzi mkuu Kanali Cyrus Njagi, na hii leo uwanjani ni Captain Calvin Kivudhi Nyaga akishirikiana naye Luteni Kelvin Omulo. Parapanda za kumkaribisha Mheshimiwa Rais zikiwa chini yake Luteni Simon Mwaganda akishirikiana naye Luteni Shalin Wamoyo. Senior Drum Major Warrant Officer 1 David Maina akishirikiana naye Sergeant John Lokidor, Koplo Washington Omondi na Senior Private Joseph Adala. Band Masters Warrant Officer 1 Dennis Okelo. Flagstaff iko chini yake Major Ismail Olwal OGW akishirikiana naye Luteni Silvana Napunyi Lesepe na Senior Sergeant Daniel Koech. Basi hii leo kikosi hiki cha kwanza wanazidi kumkumbuka shujaa wao, Commanding Officer wa kwanza kabisa Mwafrika kuweza kuchukua usukani wa kikosi hiki cha kwanza, Luteni Kanali mstaafu Joshua Barno, na nitaweza kuwaelekeza hivi sasa kwenye runinga zetu muweze kumuona shujaa huyu ambaye aliongoza kikosi hiki cha kwanza kuanzia mwaka 1963 hadi 1967 akiwa hivi sasa na miaka 19, na ndiye kamanda aliweza kupokea bendera ya kikosi cha kwanza tunayotumia hii leo kwa sherehe za Mashujaa. Unavyoshuhudia kwenye runinga zetu, shujaa huyu akiwa pamoja na parade commander wa siku ya leo Luteni Kanali Daniel Baraza. Basi ningependa kuwarejesha kwao Maroon, tukizidi kusubiri kuwasili kwa mgeni wetu rasmi, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa majeshi yote ya ulinzi ya Kenya. Maroon, tafadhali. Kabla Maroon hawajaingia, uelekezi wangu wananifahamisha, samahani kidogo, shujaa huyu ana miaka 99, si jinsi nilivyosema hapa awali 19. Maroon Commandos, tafadhali.
taifa, kwani hicho kiniasa kisababisha choja. Ewe ndugu yangu, amka kumekucha, kamata jembe na panga, twende shamba. Amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda shule. Hata wewe karani, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi mkubwa wa ujenzi wa taifa, kwani hicho kiniasa kisababisha choja. Ewe ndugu yangu, amka kumekucha, kamata jembe na panga, twende shamba. Hata wewe mwanangu, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda shule. Hata wewe karani, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda kazi.
Wacha uvivu wewe, chapa kazi.
Uvivu ni adui mkubwa wa ujenzi wa taifa, kwani hicho kiniasa kisababisha choja. Ewe ndugu yangu, amka kumekucha, kamata jembe na panga, twende shamba. Hata wewe mwanangu, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda shule. Hata wewe karani, amka kumekucha, kwani hizi ndizo saa za kwenda kazi.
Uvivu
ndio adui wa ujenzi wa taifa,
jiepushe
na uvivu, tujenge taifa.
Ndugu yangu
kumekucha, amka uende shamba.
Jiepushe
na uvivu, tujenge taifa.
Wanangu
kumekucha, amka uende shule.
Hiyo elimu
ndio msingi wa maendeleo.
Karani
kumekucha, amka uende kazi.
Jiepushe
na uvivu, tujenge taifa.
Uvivu
ndio adui wa ujenzi wa taifa.
Jiepushe
na uvivu, tujenge taifa.
Wanangu
kumekucha, amka uende kazi.
hiyo elimu
ndio msingi wa maendeleo.
Karani
kumekucha, amka uende kazi.
Jiepushe
na uvivu, tujenge taifa.